So we're talking about how to cook veggies. And when it comes to next best meals, my favorite way to cook vegetables is to steam them. And so how do I do this? Well, you can take any pot and put some water in there. Now, you want just enough water that it covers the bottom of the pot where you're not going to go dry while you're steaming them. But you know you have too much if you put your steamer in it, and you can buy this at like most grocery stores have them, or you can get one off Amazon. But this is just a metal steamer, and I can put that in there, and I know I have too much water if the water goes through the holes on the steamer when I put it down. Now I've gone ahead and I've added half a pound of the oh wow, what are they? Of the green beans. That's really funny. So I've added half a pound of green beans to it. And if you can see, I don't know if you can actually see it, but I can see some steam actually starting to form here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for this to turn a dark green color. And that's when I know it's done. And snap peas, they cook so quickly. So say I was microwaving a next best meal, say we were talking the other day about Annie's mac and cheese. Say I picked a freezer meal. This freezer meal is so pinsky. I am not going to be full for very long off of this meal, but there are a lot of calories here. How do I keep myself from reaching for the ice cream or the snacks, before bed? What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a next best meal by adding half a pound of non-starchy veggie to it. I like to show this visually on a plate. So literally I'm taking it and I've got half my plate is whatever I'm having for the day. And then the other half of the plate is going to be my non-starchy vegetable that I'm steaming right here. Now, if I was microwaving that meal, it takes about 5 minutes. My like steaming for the non-starchy vegetables, it really depends on your stove and how quickly your pot actually heats up. But once that actually gets going, I can have these done once they're on the steam, like 2 to 3 minutes. But generally, I can have this all ready within 5 to 10 minutes. So it is a really quick meal. And it's not perfect, but the goal here is progress over the perfection. If I can consistently add more non-starchy vegetables to what I'm eating, it will crowd out some of those higher calorie density foods. And if it doesn't, then at least it's helping me to manage hunger. And I say if it doesn't because I've never had that happen. Every time we add more non-starchy vegetables, people lose weight because when we're eating, it's a zero-sum game. I only have one plate. And so I can choose to fill my stomach with this and then something afterwards, like the late night cookie or crackers or chips or whatever they're going to be, because that is a habit maybe that I formed. Those are things that might be available to me in my home. Or I can add a shit ton of non-starchy vegetables and feel really stinking full and not want to snack again before bedtime. And so this is the strategy that we're using because when we eat, we only have one plate. It is a zero-sum game. And so when we add things to the plate, it will inevitably start to crowd out other items. So I can already hear this steaming. I literally just turned it on. You guys saw me touching it a moment ago. Oh, perfect. And you can already see the steam and they're starting to change color a little bit. I'm going to leave them for just another minute or two, but I can hear it boiling. That's how I know it's going. And again, it's so stinking quick. I'm going to give it another minute or two, and then I have a meal that's ready and I can get a point for it. And when you guys, so on the Eats app, what we do is we track the different points that I can get for the core elements per meal. It's our non-starchy vegetables, our intact whole grains or starchy vegetables, our plant protein sources, and then healthy fats. And we spend a good 2 weeks talking about healthy fats because there's so much misinformation and controversy about them that it always takes us like a good 2 weeks to get through it. But that's why I love this program is because it's not just the, education behind it. It's not just the lectures. It's about hands-on on my plate. What are we doing with a pointed goal every single week? And so give me just a second because I think they're ready. Yes. So they are, it's hot. Oh, yeah. So they are very warm, but still crunchy. And that is how I love them. So I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to add those to my meal. Now, the sneaky way, let me just put this down because it's hot. The sneaky way to do this is there's a circle right here in the center. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a ring. And I just hook it with a fork. And then generally I can take my pot holder, although I'm in the steam, although I have years of just like touching things and I do rock climbing. And so I have really thick skin. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump this onto my plate. That's what you're seeing me do over here. Okay. Throw that back over there. That'll take a little bit of time to actually stop its boil. I'm going to move it to the side carefully here. Okay. So that is my meal. And in the time that it would have taken me to microwave this mac and cheese, I have my boiled, steamed, or sorry, not boiled. I have my steamed green beans. And so this is a next best plate. And there is half a pound of non-starchy veggie. And I keep saying it, half a pound, guys. And when you're first learning, the most important thing is actually measuring this. Because when I was in primary care, I would ask people, are you eating vegetables? And they would say yes. And some people's vegetable serving, I kid you not, because I had them take photos, was this. This was a serving of veggies. And this is not a serving of veggies when it comes to Lifestyle Medicine Maine. We are looking for around half a pound per meal. And as we get towards our ideal body weight, are we going to be more sensitive to volume? Yes. But if we have more than 10 pounds to lose, then adding half a pound of non-starchy vegetables is such a healthy habit to get in because it's going to tame hunger. It's going to reduce my cravings for these higher calorie density foods. And it is so beyond important to take that into account. Okay, so that is veggies for steaming. Let me get this all out of the way. And then let's talk about how do we bake veggies or how am I doing this quickly in an air fryer? Okay, let's talk a little bit about baking vegetables. I bake vegetables generally once a week. And those are kind of my fancy ones. I really like them baked. And I do it once a week because I can fit 2 trays in my oven. And I know that it takes like 45 minutes to an hour to actually bake them. And so my baked veggies are like what I enjoy Sunday through Tuesday, sometimes through Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, typically I'm going for steamed vegetables or I'm throwing them in my air fryer. So one of the non-starchy veggies that people often go wrong with are these Brussels sprouts. And that's because if we dry roast them, they taste like mustard. They just don't taste good. And one of the things that we can do is something called parboiling, where we boil a pot of water and we throw them in like pasta and they cook for, 2-3 minutes. And then we take them out and we put them on a baking sheet and we bake them. I don't have time for that. And so, because I want things to be quick and easy, so that way I can stick to them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the Brussels here and I'm not cutting off the ends. I'm not doing anything at all fancy to them because I want it to be easy. And do I care that when I go and I eat them that I'm eating the ends? No, I don't actually at all. And could I just bite them off? Sure. I don't even notice a difference, to be honest. And so I'm just going to cook them like this. And then let me grab my things here. So one of the biggest things when it comes to putting veggies on a tray is to give them plenty of space. So if I did all of my veggies like this, if I did all of them where they were on top of each other, they won't brown and cook as well. We want to let them breathe. And so I could probably fit 2 bags of Brussels sprouts on here. And I'm sure that I've done that in the past and that would be probably okay. But once they start kind of like piling on top of one another, like once they start like stacking, that's when you're going to say, oh, they're going to take too long to cook. And so what I do is I'm not oil free. And I think that's really common in the plant-based community is to completely avoid oil. I know that a lot of the different plant-based communities push that. I haven't had to do that with anybody to reverse their high cholesterol or high blood pressure or pre-diabetes or even type 2 diabetes. And we use oil, but we're very judicious about it. And so this is a misto. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it just a quick spray. Great. Okay. I've measured this before. It's like not even an eighth of a teaspoon of it. And then I'm going to so I gave it a quick spray, and then I'm going to actually get my hands dirty. So I'm massaging it here. And I'm doing that so that way I can evenly distribute the oil. And if I needed any more, could I put a little bit oil on my hand here? Yeah, I can see how much it is. And then just massage a little bit more into it. Yes. So when I put oil on vegetables, when I'm cooking them, I am making them cook more evenly. And if I don't use oil, I don't have to, unless they're a mustard green veggie like Brussels sprouts. But when I don't use oil, what will happen is they won't cook as consistently or evenly. You won't get that crunch to them. But I've done this. They're gorgeous. They're covered in oil, right? But there's not a lot of added calories there because I'm not glugging or pouring my oatmeal or my oatmeal or my oil on there. I had oatmeal for breakfast. Apparently that's top of mind. But the other thing that I can do to make veggies more palatable and is to add a pinch of salt. Now, salt gets a bad rap because so many of us are eating, like as a standard American diet, are eating a lot of salty foods because these prepackaged foods are filled with salt. I don't eat very much salt because I don't eat a lot of those prepackaged foods unless I'm grabbing like a quick grain and bean bag, like those pre-made ones from Whole Foods. And so I will add a little bit of salt. And so adding a pinch of salt to something that I am like to a vegetable that I'm putting a little bit of oil on actually significantly increases the palatability of it. So I'm just going to take a little pinch here and I'm just going to sprinkle it. And again, getting my hands dirty and just massaging it here. And that's really just it. Now I'm going to throw this in the oven on 400 for, yeah, maybe 45, 60 minutes. And my oven is so old, guys. I don't know yours will probably cook way quicker than mine. But basically, I'm going to do it until they look really brown. And then I'm going to take them out and I'm going to know that they're going to keep in the fridge for 2 to 3 days. And so I'm going to do that. And actually there's more, I'm going to make a little bit more room here on this dish. So I've got that here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of my carrots because efficiency. The more veggies I can cook at once, the quicker I can get meal prep done. All right. So carrots. Carrots are a really fun one. And I used to take all of this time to actually like cut the carrots and make them really pretty. And then I've really embraced rustic cooking. So I've got a bunch of, they're smaller carrots that were available here, but I do them with large ones too. I'm literally just going to put them right on my tray. And I know I should wash them. Um, I I just don't take the time to do it. If you have any type of like immunocompromise, or this is something where you're actually worried about the produce where you're getting it from, I've been eating these for so long, and I've never needed to actually wash them, and so I'm just going to toss them on there. And again, I'm going to give them the littlest bit of a spritz. It's coming out. This one you have to pump, and I didn't pump it. Okay, I'm going to give a little bit of a spritz. I put some in my hand here, and I'm really just going to roll my hand through these carrots. And so they are all greased up. Okay. And is this perfect in terms of the amount of room that I'm giving them? They might be a little bit more squashed than they need to be. Like they might be a little bit tight to each other, but they will cook just fine. And I'm going to put a timer on so that way in the next 45 minutes, when it goes off, I can come over and check it. And do they cook at different, this is another common question I get is, do they cook at different times? Like, will they take different amount of times? Yeah, maybe, but I just pick whenever both of them look like they're reasonably good, I take them out because easy, like that is the goal. How can I make it as easy as it's possible to do? Okay, so those are going in. I'm gonna put my timer on. Okay, so that is baking. The last thing that I tend to do is a lot of butternut squash in my air fryer because it's so yummy and it's so quick. So let's talk about that next. Okay, guys, I bought the cutest little squash from Trader Joe's today, and it really is that deep in color. I've never seen one like it before. It's like kind of caramelly. And so I'm gonna make this in the air fryer because it's so stinking easy and quick. Now, one of the things that I hear a lot is, do I need to take the skin off? No, I don't even bother to because quick and easy is really my goal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start by cutting off the top here. Now, these are really fun for decorations. I know it sounds so silly, but they're really pretty. And they dry really nice. Anyway, sometimes I leave them around just for fun. But what I'm going to do is, so I cut the top off here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off right here, halfway. Perfect. And I do it halfway because there are seeds in the bottom half. So like if this was together, oops, sorry. If this was together, there are seeds in the bottom half. So this part right here where it starts to get bulb-like, if I can cut it right above the bulb, then I won't start getting all of the seeds. So this part is pretty much ready to go. So I'm just gonna dice this. And it means that I'm gonna cut it twice long way, and then I'm gonna lay it down here. And I'll show you in just a second. I'm gonna lay it down and just do a couple big chunks. Don't get nitpicky about the size of the chunks. They don't always have to be perfect. Yes, they will cook at different rates if they're different, like if they're dramatically different sizes, but just close is what works. I find that some of my older clients struggle a little bit with squash and prefer to do frozen squash because it does take a little bit of like heft to get the knife through it. And that's always something I worry about a little bit. All right, there is this weird tail on here. And so I'm going to cut that off. Perfect. And now I have a flat surface. So I'm cutting this in half first, this way. Perfect. So I have this, and then I'm going to take a really hefty spoon and I'm just going to scoop out the innards. All right, so spoon here. I'm just going to really scoop. So making a mess today. All right. So there goes all of the seeds. Okay. And I'm going to be left with just the inside here. And I'm going to quickly do the other one just off camera so I can be clean about it. I've got these two innards right here, and I'm just going to turn them over and I'm going to chop them the exact same way that I chopped the first ones. Oop, that one wanted to flip. All right, and I'll show you in just a second. I literally just diced up butternut squash, and they're just cubed here. And I'm going to do the same thing that I do when I air fry them. So I'm on my chopping board here. I'm going to take a little bit of my misto here. And what I'm using is grapeseed oil because it's got a higher temperature that you can cook at with it. So typically grapeseed or avocado oil are really good ones. There are others, but those are just my two go-tos that I keep. So I'm just going to take my hand here. I'm going to spray a little bit in my hand. I've got like a quarter of a teaspoon here. And I'm just going to literally just massage and coat them all. Oh, I hope I'm not getting oil on my thing. But I'm just going to massage and coat them all. And then I'm gonna, again, if I wanna make it more palatable, I can add a pinch of salt here. So I'm just gonna take the salt and do just a little tiny pinch, massage it in, and then I'm gonna throw it straight in my air fryer. Now I know that this is a little contentious because people are like, well, don't you have to line the air fryer to put something in it? I don't, and then I just wash my air fryer every couple of days. I have a Ninja. The Ninja air fryer has a basket to it, and I love it because I got it really cheap at Ocean State Job Lot, and it works great. And that's really all that matters to me. And there is this little thing that comes out here, so you can clean the whole thing. So I don't even bother to line it, and I'm just going to toss them all right in here. Now, air frying, even though it says frying, I'm the one adding oil to it. And so you don't necessarily even have to add oil. Like when I do my sweet potato, I won't add any oil to it. So there's this. And I'm just going to pop it in the air fryer for 400 for 15 to 20 minutes. Halfway through, I'm going to take the container out. I'm going to give it a good shake like that. And then it'll be good to go. So those are the ways that I generally cook my veg. Can you microwave them? Can you actually just put veg, especially frozen veg, in a dish and just microwave it for a couple of minutes? Yes, absolutely. Oop, there's my oven. Yes, absolutely. But really it just comes down to what is the quickest thing that you're comfortable doing that's going to get those veggies on your plate.